Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Harakah Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work necessary in truth. There's an article on RT talking about how in one of the states in the US, they're basically going to make it so you can donate organs. When you're in jail, you can donate organs to like shorten your sentence, which in and of itself is just a mess. Cause it's kind of fucking nuts, but it's one of those kind of dystopian changes that you see coming up where it's essentially showing how life's gonna be, under this system. Cause it's more or less like especially now. Well, it's the thing with the jail shit anyway. Is most of the people in there through as hell. So they're gonna. This is gonna become something. It's funny as well because it's like that's usually like the mob. I think what's that? That or Squid Game. In Squid Game, I think it was like he was what do you call it? I think it was his organs that was on the line for him to even go and participate in it in the first place. There was his organs on the line, so that's usually something like it's a fucking gangster or some shit holding you and being like, okay, you can take, we can take one of your livers, we can take a bit, a bit of kidney, one of your livers, one of your kidneys, a bit of your liver, because when it comes to these guys that get established with an ESOL system, they'll have, means to make things happen, but then what the flesh is going to be what's tying them down. They're going to be trying to look for means to overcome that, and that's a big part of ESOL system. And that's what all this organ transplants and whatnot come in. You got like David Rockefeller getting the heart transplants, myriad times. They do bone marrow transplant. Well, I'll get into it because it mentions it. So it says U.S. inmates could soon be trading their organs for freedom. A proposed bill in New England could see vulnerable convicts making decisions out of desperation, which I don't know. That's pretty much all you're looking to see from that. I won't be surprised. Like I'll be surprised if there was anything else. So state legislatures around the U.S. are keenly watching the fate of a Massachusetts bill allowing prisoners to receive up to 1 year off their jail sentence by donating organs. How fucking wild that is. I said you give up a kidney. You can borrow a man your eyeball. You can give some guy, take some bone marrow. Like what the but that's kind of the end goal of, the bounds of this society, where it's funny you consider now like pretty much anything's up for a price. So it says, according to the reports, Bill HD 3822, called the Act to Establish the Massachusetts Incarcerated Individual Bone Marrow and Organ Donation Program, would allow participating prisoners to receive a minimum of 60 days and up to a whole year off their sentence. It would be up in a special parole hearing. No, it would be set up in a special parole hearing based similarly on commuted sentences for good behavior. So yeah, it's essentially working. You basically you participate and you get time off. However, it would also encourage repeat donations, and since though, well, yeah, if a man's like, I can live without a liver, I can live without this, etc., they'll be like, fuck it, trade it in, and then get the fuck out to go free. Quicker. It's wild still, because it's just like, it's legit some shit you would expect to see one of those dystopian futures where the elites have got everything under their thumb. But that's what I'm on the brink of. It's funny because these kind of programs, you can see it going to, the Karagma through the process of time. Going to that MOTB. Because why? It's even like now in the UK you have like ankle trackers and whatnot. They might say like, okay, you can go under house arrest with this implant. You get this implant. It's tied into this database, this system, whatever. I'm not sure if they're doing that already or if they offered it. I think they were gonna offer it. This is years back, but I don't know what. Can't remember off the top of my head what it went down to. But that's something that people would take, because why? They're thinking, you just take it, you get to go free, not realizing the fullness of it. Because why? That's a big part of how Esau's gonna get people. Basically, just what? Them thinking it's something incidental, and then once they're within the system, it's a wrap. They can expand this, how it's utilized, and people will just be like, oh well, which is the same thing that happened during a lockdown. During a lockdown, the things that were being how it was set up, it was basically set up as like a temporary thing. It was meant to be 2 weeks, to what was it, the curve, the curve, and then afterwards it was just going on like it was never gonna end. Yeah, like it was never gonna end. However, it would also encourage repeat donations, and since they're incarcerated in the US, since those incarcerated in the US are disproportionately minorities and low-income earners, it bears similarities to the country's blood and plasma donation scheme. That system preys on low-income earners and students, encouraging them to consistently donate their blood at for-profit collection centers, effectively selling it in a sort of vampirism version of capitalism. Yeah, that too. Funny as hell. But it's another kind of angle of how essentially, um basically willing to, for you to the cost of participating in the system, man. That's really what it is. Because and how much people are willing to mess with it, to where they're gonna you let some motherfucker carve out their liver or kidney or whatever. I don't even know like the full extent to what would the term be? What body parts they're willing to transfer. But it's again a thing where for you to be messing with that, just slamming down an organ. That's fucking wild. But, hey, that's it's like with the blood where that's become a thing, and it's funny because they might even make it a thing where it's like they're saying, oh, in jail you can do this. It's like, why can't I sell a kidney, sell a this, sell a that, and make an official market for it? I don't know. It could go somewhere, and then I feel like with a prisoner angle, that can tie into them being like, okay, well, if you're not willing to give up an organ, you take this trip, it will track you, blah blah blah. They might even say like, oh, you have it, but it'll just be for a short time, or just da da da. And push it that way, very easily. I read this. Wisdom of Solomon 2, 1, it says what? For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. Yeah. So this is the mindset of those of the elites, which are really the guys who are going to be utilizing these things. It's essentially these you know these systems exist so that those who hold sway, who hold power within this civilization, within this society, they can what do you call it? They can have access to, these unlimited resources. These things are taking advantage of those on the bottom, and they're doing it because why? As far as for they've reached a state in life where they want things to continue. They ain't looking for it to end. They're looking for a way to sustain that. Like it says, what? They say, oh, life short and tedious. In death there's no remedy. So then what? For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we have never been. For the breath in our nostrils is a smoke, and the little spark in the moving of our heart. Which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as a soft air. Yeah, so that's, the way they talk about it now in the modern days. They say, oh, you just go, it's just oblivion, it's just blackness. You just cease to be and blah, you just drop dead, and then you just like, and there's nothing, you're just done. And everything your life accounted for just comes to a halt then. But obviously, you go into the spiritual world. After you pass on, man, your spirit goes up there. And that's something that, as far as for Esau, especially with these elites, where they're looking is like, yo, I'm looking to just stay here and maximize what I got. But it says what, and then our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall pass in remembrance, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcame with the heat thereof. Yeah. Basically just gonna come where it's all gonna amount essentially to what, they'll view it as like amount to nothing. Oh, you did all that and then you just drop dead, so you can't enjoy it. It's like with the pharaohs just burying every blood clot with them, because they're like, oh no, I need someone to fold my socks and massage my fucking my the inside of my armpit when I'm in the afterlife. So you have to have everyone else roll up with you. That carnal view of death where it's just like, yo, you're thinking that the things that you're thinking of will either apply now, or you got some means to combat against it. It says, what? For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning, for it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. But the scriptures then come back in a cycle. You ain't gonna come back as some guy called John Smith ain't gonna come back as John Smith. He'll come back as the grandchild or the great grandchild. So John Smith the third or fourth. But that's why what these elites are looking at, like, oh, everything that they're gonna do what they're doing, and they're just gonna drop dead and leave it. But it says what? Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. Let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. It goes into further detail, because it says, yeah, they're basically looking to utilize or, acquire as much bliss as can be found in this plane, before they have to croak. But then they're trying to utilize what? Their miracles, man. Trying to utilize their miracles as a means of what? uh, of how they're trying to you know, keep things running. Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Here, these guys are thinking they've established something that's gonna go on for all time. They call it. I think the term is like they say it's like, oh, it's the end of history now. Because why now? It's just this is a state that's gonna be in, and how it's gonna continue. Just with like the advancements of technology and whatnot, but that whole approach is it's out of whack. But this is what they're clinging to. That's why they'll have a man be in prison and then just be like, okay, harvesting a man's organs so they can utilize these things to try and push on. Um, so it says what James 5:1. It says, "Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." Yeah, despite all the what they desire to do, how they desire to keep themselves going forever, and you see that among these elites, the guys at the top, the upper strata. Good example would be with over here, Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, even the Queen, and then you had Evil Lynn as well, Croak, and David. The prime example with all the heart transplants, basically trying to stay on this plane as long as possible and establish what they're looking to establish. But it's a thing where what they're trying to do, it's been set up against them. That ain't gonna work. So it says, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You've heaped treasure together for the last days. Yeah, all that you've built. And that's the thing, is they're thinking of ways, they're trying to make a means for them to have that endure for all time. For what? It's a matter of, you keep treasures together for the last days, not for you. Basically, for what? For those of the elect. Behold, the hire of the labourers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Yeah? So all your crimes, all this on the list, you're trying to move, you've been transformed into the angel of light. You switched up the story, so you're now the hero, you're the protagonist. But your crimes, those things are still evidence to themselves. Even if you try to, deny it and say, oh, well, no one's alive anymore. That was in the past. All the people affected are dead. Like, why are you still talking about that? These, these, as it says, into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, Lord of armies. So that's how, the what's the term? The recompense is gonna come. It's gonna come from the Lord of armies, man, Lord of hosts. It says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Yeah, you've basically had the run of it, and then what have you done with that? Isaiah 26:10, it says, "Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will they not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord Yahweh." Yeah, what, that favor's been shown to the wicked. They've been given the scriptures, they've been given all the capabilities to basically move righteously, and have rejected it every turn. And that's why what? It's passing from them. They're not the one. You're not the chosen. You're not being selected. You ain't gonna have that role. You're gonna have to pass it up. You're gonna have to get, the kingdom taken from you by Israel, man. Primarily by Yahushua. Yahushua and the elect, the joint heirs. But then what? Hey, all the means that all the energy you're putting into to try and sustain yourself, so try and have this so-called eternal rule that you think you can force upon yourself, that's all in vain. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Say shalom, Yahweh Shem Yeshua, Shem Shalom.